Hello, everyone. I'll try to not be too nervous. I used to never do public speaking, and then I did it for like a year, and I haven't done it in like 4 years. So I'm going to try to wing it here. So my name is Fidel Quezada Guzman. I usually like to keep my two last names. So I work as a computer engineer for STERIS/BDB. The reason why it's two names is because we used to be a startup on my company called BDB, and we were kicking everyone's butt. So STERIS bought us, and that's why. Kind of the short of it. Oops, down. There you go. So I guess just a little background about myself. I was born in Jalisco, Mexico, and I came here when I was like 6. I think. Yeah, I came here when I was like 6 to the Bay Area, and I went back, and I came back here, and then I went back to Mexico, and I came back here, like back and forth, like every year, because my parents couldn't decide where they wanted to live, and so eventually they were like, okay, yeah, I think we're staying here. Most of my family actually lives here, and that's probably why they decided here was the best place to grow up in. And so I went to high school here in middle college from like 2008 to 2012. So seems like so long ago. Also, if anyone has any questions, you can just raise your hand, and I can just call upon you. And then after middle college, I guess I just transitioned here for about a year. I took classes with Mr. Wong. I took Cal 3 with Stanton. With Stanton. Took a couple computer science classes with Dr. Tom. Yeah. He was great. Yeah. Is he serious? He's not here anymore. Did he retire? He retired. Yeah. I think that was his second to last class. Well, he told us, "Oh yeah, this is my last class." And the next year, he's like, "All right, this is my last class." And, But he was great. When I took his class, I was like, "Oh my god!" Because initially, when I started school, I was like, "I want to do mathematics," because I was great at math, or at least I thought I was great at math.
Yeah.
And then I took his computer science class, and I was like, "Oh my god, maybe I can do computer science." And I took Mr. Wong's physics class, and I'm like, "I'm doing engineering." So I guess that's how I decided. So thank you, Mr. Wong, for helping me decide what to study. After that, I stayed about a year here, and I transferred over to SF State with a major in computer engineering. Started taking classes there, and then I talked to one of my advisors, and he was like, "Hey, I see you," because we had to take electives. He's like, "I see you're always taking like electrical engineering electives. You know that if you stay one more semester, or if you take summer classes somewhere, you could get a double degree." So I started taking summer classes at Berkeley. So I graduated with a computer and electrical engineering degree from SF State. So that was pretty awesome. Computer engineering is kind of weird because it's like a hybrid of computer science and electrical engineering. So you get to do a little bit of both. That's why I really like software, but I also really like hardware. So it's good to do more than one if you like it. Any questions? You good? Move forward. Cool. So where am I now? So company name is STERIS. Like I said, formerly used to be called BDB or Black Diamond Video. Computer engineer is my role, and my experience is 3 years. I've only been there for 2 years, but I do so much overtime. I got 3 years of experience now. So I put 3. These are my responsibilities. So I handle all the engineering escalations. I work with creating patches for the software. I do a lot of the rework for all of our video converters. So you can see software and hardware. I get to do both. I do a lot of sustaining engineering. We always, our equipment, we put it in hospitals, right? So a lot of the operating rooms. Mm-hmm. And so when someone buys our product, they're like, what if it breaks? We need someone to know how to fix it. So hospitals usually hire biomed engineers. And so they pay big bucks. They come to our facility, and then I get to train them. So I just took that role on like a year ago. I do that like once a month or so for a week. So that's part of my responsibilities. I also started documenting a lot of our stuff for something called STERIS U. So we do a lot of documentation because, like I said, we used to be a startup, right? So everything that we knew was inside people's heads. There was nothing written down. And all the manuals that we did have, STERIS is like, "Oh, we can't legally use this. So they have to rewrite everything." So me and my team try to do a lot of the documentation and formalize it. That way it could be official for internal and external uses, both for paper and also for videos. And I'm also the head memologist in my office. So all the memes in my office right here. I think they technically only pay me for like 2 or 3 of those things on my responsibilities. But the great thing about, when you get a job in engineering is you get to explore. There might be things out there that you're like, I don't know if I like that or not, but you get to try it, and if you like it, then you can, get more into it. And then eventually, I just want to do this. So then maybe I can move on and just do circuit design, or maybe I can move on and just become just a software engineer. But that's kind of the beauty of when you start up and you're still fresh out of school. So you're still like a sponge to them. You can learn so many things. So for sure, take advantage of that. If you ever fresh out of school, this is sort of a picture I found, and this is kind of what our equipment looks like in an operating room. So a lot of this stuff is not from us, but like a lot of the equipment right here is not us, but we make the monitors. We also do the surgical lights. And what Black Diamond does is this rack right here. So if you can picture, let's say you have all this equipment, right? Let's say you have a vitals machine, you have a microscope, you have a PC, you have a bunch of stuff, right? That spits out video, right? So let's say one day you want to, you have like 4 monitors, right? You're not going to want to unplug stuff and plug it in every single time you want to change, right? So we made this video router, and it's 36 by 36. You can plug whatever you want in. You can route it to whatever you want with just a click of a button. We also program a touch panel. If you look at the corner left side of it, there's 2 touch panels there. So that's where the nurse just sits down and she can route whatever she wants. You can create patient cases. You can document stuff. You can take pictures. That way, you have record of the operation, that procedure that went through. A lot of colleges use our equipment. UC Davis just bought our equipment, about like $10 million worth of our stuff. They just finished installing like 2 months ago. I got to go for the install, and they love it. So it's especially for a teaching institution, because our equipment, they get to take pictures. They can, send it to people for your students. They can draw on it and do all this neat stuff. And a lot of hospitals have it. One of the reasons why Black Diamond was bought by STERIS is because we're inside every Kaiser. So every Kaiser has their stuff. I used to think Kaiser was only in California. Apparently there's a couple in Oregon and there's one in Hawaii. So hopefully something breaks right there one day and I get to go for free. I'm joking. Hopefully nothing breaks. Yeah. I'm like, hey, someone disconnect the cable and tell them that you need an engineer out there like right now. But yeah, that's kind of what we do. Everything that we make is Linux based. Everyone heard of Linux? Okay. Anyone doing computer science or computer engineering, electrical engineering here? No. Yeah. You need to know Linux 100%. First thing you do tonight, you go on Amazon or you go to a store and you buy a Raspberry Pi and you play with it for the rest of your life. We actually still use Raspberry Pis for part of our equipment. Super flexible. You can do whatever you want with it, and almost everything is free except for the hardware. But all the software that you use is free, and that's again another reason why Black Diamond grew so much in such a little time, because unlike other companies like STERIS before they bought us, their stuff was Windows based. So for everything they make, they have to buy a license, and then their thing shuts down in 5 minutes to do an update. No, it doesn't do that. But we like to joke about that. But because our system is Linux based, we're super more flexible. It used to be based on Fedora, which is just a different distribution of Linux. Who has an Android phone? And your phone, Android is based on Linux too. Almost every computer out there is based on Linux. Who has a car that has like a smart, panel on their in front? That's based on Linux. Most likely it's based on Linux. BART, that kind of sucks, based on Windows now. But yeah, so it's super flexible. The other reason why this is super neat is, let's say, so what happens if let's say you're a hospital, right? You're a Kaiser, and you have all this equipment and something broke, right? And let's say you don't have anyone on site that can fix it, and they're operating on someone, right? So what do you do? What would you need in order to fix it? Can you answer? Just a guess. I'm not looking for a right answer. What's up? Who? Leon? Oh, Leon's girlfriend. That's me. Uh-huh. Yeah. So the difference between like a lot of companies out there is that, you know, if something goes wrong, they need to call in and they can kind of guide you on how to do it. Because we're a Linux system, we can just remote in automatically through SSH and fix everything, as long as it's not hardware, obviously. But that's another one of the reasons why this is so kind of ahead of its time type of equipment. So yeah, I guess she's Leon's girlfriend. Leon's one of my coworkers. Sarah, nice to meet you. Okay, move forward. This is a little system architecture of how. Remember, I talked about a little video matrix that goes in, video router that goes in. So you can have a bunch of sources. You know, you can have all these equipment. You got your PAX PC, you got your C-arms, your light cameras. That all goes in, and you can route it to whatever monitor you want. So you can take pictures, you can do conferencing, you can do streaming, kind of like how we are right now, and everything on that. It runs on Ruby, actually. So for anyone that knows Ruby, super useful tool for anyone that likes to work on Linux. So, and yeah, that's kind of what our interface looks like. So when a nurse is working on our stuff, that's what they look at most of the time. You got your sources on the left, you got your preview in the middle, you got your surgical displays on the right to route. So it's pretty user friendly. I would say, and everything's running on a web application. So technically, that's running like on a Firefox. It's like on kiosk mode. So it's super flexible. And yeah, cool. So today I decided I wanted to talk about what you do after you graduate, because I felt like when I was in school, I always had people coming in and they're like, oh, this is what you do in college. This is what you have to do. This is what you have to watch out for. But then no one ever told me, what do you do afterwards? You know, because it kind of felt like, oh, I'm going to go to college and I'm going to get a degree. And then there's going to be like 20 people online trying to hire me. Right. That's what it kind of feels like when you're in school. And if you graduate and you are like that, then you must have done an amazing job. But in a perfect world, it might not be like that. So I'm hoping to kind of share a little bit of my experience, and maybe you can take a note of it and say, okay, when I graduate, I'm gonna do this or that. Right. So, and I put a bunch of memes in here, so that way you all laugh. So that's what it feels like when you graduate, right? You're like, it's gone, it's finally done, right? At least that's what I felt like when engineering was done for me, or at least for college. So one of the key factors that I found was the job experience dilemma. This meme is perfect, you know. So let me get it straight. The job requires experience, but I can't get experience until you get a job. And it's always like that. And that right there in the bottom, that's what it looks like when people got like 10 years of experience and they're only 22. That's what you got to do. So I at least the things that helped me was that number one, you know, you always want to make sure you update your resume, be super detailed, try to keep it one page if you can, but try to be as detailed as you can. If you have professors that are willing to help, and I know they are, send them your resume, tell them, hey, how does this look? Do you want me to take something out? Can I add something else? What about the formatting? For me, Tom is the one who helped me out with my resume structure. Research for internships that are related to your field, because you might be studying something and you're like, oh yeah, I like this, but you've never actually worked in it, and you might like it, you might not. One good example is my fiance. When she was in college, well, before she started college, she did an internship at a lab because she wanted to study for medicine. So she got in the lab and she hated every second of it. So then she changed, and now she's in pre-law. So that's pretty big difference. But she wouldn't have known that, you know. She might have done like 4 years, and then she's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to medical school, and then she's gonna hate it, you know. So super important to look for them. You have to have some sort of experience, and even if it's not related to your major, I feel like that's very important because it shows, at least for me, like if you were to apply to a job with me, and I can see that, okay, maybe he's number, you know, he just graduated, you know, I don't expect him to have any experience if it's an entry level job. But if I see that, oh, he or she did an internship, you know, I don't know, let's say you were a computer engineering major, but you did like an IT internship, you know, that's so related, but when you do IT, you get a lot of hands-on experience. you got a lot of communication skills, or even if it's something simple, like, I don't know, at a store or something. I did like a store job too. And that helped me get my internship because I was able to communicate properly with people. So always having any sort of experience helps a lot, at least in my opinion. And if you're applying for a job and you look at your resume and you look at the job requisites, you're like, it doesn't really match, but you really want the job, I say apply anyways, because the worst thing that could happen is to say no. I think I technically didn't qualify for the job I got, but I applied anyways. I went in for the interview and they asked me a bunch of questions and I answered them, and I guess I did good. So that's for sure something that I would recommend. Don't be afraid to apply for stuff. Again, the worst thing that could happen is to say no. So patience is key. But you have to also stay very persistent. I found that when I was applying, a lot of people don't respond, or they'll take forever to respond. And it just feels really bad, because for me, I was like, I'm okay if they say no. It just feels bad when you apply and then they never reply, because you're like, did they even read it? But I guess you have to understand a lot of the time they're super busy, or they have a lot of people applying. So it's hard to go through. If you find someone, it's hard to go through everyone. Once you get reached out, make sure you know who you're talking to, because you're going to get different questions, whether it be HR or someone actually working, or like a VP or something like that, because they're going to ask you different questions and they're going to expect different answers. And HR is probably going to ask you about your personality, your communication skills and stuff like that, how you are as a person. Someone that works in your field is going to ask you more technical questions. And a VP, he's just looking for like keywords. Like, so if you say a bunch of fancy stuff and he's just not going to understand it, he's going to be like, oh yeah, this guy's good. True story. And I just think don't settle. Don't be like, oh, this is the only one I found. I'm going to accept it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if it's not exactly what you want, there's nothing wrong with accepting a job and then, I found another one and going somewhere else, as long as you're happy. Those are my 2 cents. And then when you get the interview, I told you I'm the head memologist in the office. So I think once an interview time comes, it's very important to stay calm and know your strengths and weaknesses, because they will ask you that. They always ask you that. Everyone will. I think everyone asks that, even HR, and also the actual real interview in a facility, they'll ask you that. Make sure you give examples of stuff, because that way they know that you understand the question and you actually understand what you're saying. You're not just saying words. The reason I'm saying this is because today we had an interview. Before I came here, we had an interview, and I felt like the person was just saying words. But once we asked them about what those things were, they were like, yeah, all over the place. So make sure you give examples of stuff. Don't just say stuff to say it. And practice. The way that I practice is I went to job interviews even though I didn't want the job. So like I think I forget where it was, in San Francisco. I went to like a job interview for like a web developing company, and I know I probably didn't want to take the job, but I was like, okay. The interview is like a day before my Black Diamond or STERIS interview. I'm totally gonna go that way. At least I won't feel so nervous. So I guess it helped. It helps you not be so nervous, and it helps you kind of know what people are going to ask. That way, you can anticipate a good answer. I thought that was pretty helpful for me. There's a lot of online resources. I think Glassdoor, I don't think they had anything for my company, but they had stuff for like related jobs, and people post like interview questions, so you can look up answers, or it doesn't have to be there. You can look up stuff like, okay, what does this company do? Let me get some background on video processing. Let me get some background on whatever, web developing. So, and pay attention to the environment. You don't want to take a job and then you realize like, oh my God, everyone that's in this office is like totally horrible. So when I came in for the interview, first thing I saw when I walked in was a big dude, huge hair, was wearing shorts, and he was just walking around like this. And I was like, that guy looks amazing. He's our senior network engineer over there. His name's Barrett. He's the chillest guy ever. My HR lady told me that when I left the interview, he was part of my interview. He ran to my manager's office and he told him, if you don't hire that guy, I'm going to hire him for my department. So I guess they're pretty good. But yeah, try to pay attention to who's going to be working with you if you get the job, or what the environment is at the facility that you might be in. All right, so then you get hired, right? Now what? What do you do? So I always thought that even when you get the position that you wanted, regardless of what it may be, I don't think that learning stops ever, especially not in the STEM field or any field like law or anything like that, because time moves on, new stuff gets developed. You might find more interests. There's a lot of human resources out there. It doesn't have to be documented. You don't have to go on Google and try to find stuff. I found that a lot of people that work with you are willing to teach you stuff that they know. I want to say that maybe 90 or 80% of the stuff that I've learned in my job was from people's heads that I've sat down with them, worked with them, and I've learned a lot. It's helped me grow a lot. So I say that's key to do. You want to stay active, push for promotions. You want to get, you want to advance in your life. That's for sure a good one. Improve on your weaknesses. You want to make sure you do that, and use your company's resources for sure. Like me, I try to push for certifications and stuff. I think my company doesn't pay for college if I want to get a master's, but they're like, oh, we'll pay for any certifications. So I'm like, all right, I'm always looking around to see if I can get certified. And I don't know, in Ruby or Linux, like an actual real certification. Or I think right now I just convinced them to buy me $50,000 of equipment for some new projects. So that was pretty awesome. You just have to push buttons on people and let them know that you actually, you're excited about it and you want to do it. So a lot of times they're willing because they know that, hey, the better this guy gets, the better it is for our company. And they like to see that a lot. So that's for sure something I would advise. And I think that's it. That's kind of a short one. So yeah, thanks for your time. Cool. Thank you so much.